already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free with me. Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free.
I can pick you up when you're heading down. When it all just sucks, I'll be your Charlie Brown. You can make me laugh when I wanna cry. In a world of men, we're all an all-time high. Oh, 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 oh. You and I till the end, don't need to pretend again and again. We'll stick together, everything is alright with you by my side. We won't say goodbye, we'll stick together. And it wouldn't be the same without you. We did so many stupid things together. You're the only thing I'm holding on to. Anywhere and anything, we'll stick together. Funny how the story goes, little hope but bigger dreams. They try to bring a sucker down, singing louder than the crowd. Listen the rhythm, I'm feeling brand new. Keep pushing forward, it's gonna save you. Never look down, love, not when we shine so bright. The sun is getting warmer when we soar away among the clouds. The sky is just a border when we're floating up like helium. Sip me up like lemonade, we both know it's bittersweet. This sorrowness will bite your tongue, no one is forever young. No, like helium.
Hey, welcome back. Hopefully things are going well. You're enjoying the pace at which we are moving through all of the information. And yeah, as you have no doubt figured out, we have a lot, we have a lot for you. So we want to make sure that at the end of the day, you got the steps that you need in order to make this whole thing happen. Hopefully you've been following along. So at this point, here's what that means. It means very simply that you have put yourself in a position to where you have an idea of who it is that you want to serve. If you didn't have the capital, you have an idea of some people that you can even talk to, if you haven't already, that have some capital, or you know the process you need to follow. And we've also talked about the fact that why short-term rentals in general, why they make sense. This is all ammunition to help you get a yes. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this particular session. So if this is your first session with us today or inside of this particular series, what I want to do is I want to make sure and take care of a couple of homework related things, housekeeping, if you will. Go to CashFlowDiary.com/2daybook, because inside there, you will get the workbook. This is the page we're going to be on today, or at least for this particular session, is how to get the landlord to say yes. Because completing this workbook, well, before the end of the day, you're going to find out that it is worth some money. And I want to make sure that you begin to know exactly what we're talking about here. So and then also you'll be able to follow this step by step in order to be able to use it to come back to the point of, I was going to say no return, but the point of actually creating your business, which is kind of like a point of no return of sorts, because you can become psychologically unemployable. So once you have the workbook, you are here and you are ready. Do me a favor, go ahead and type in the chat, short-term rentals rocks. That way I know that you're here and that you got the workbook. Also, so that you know, today it's 2 days. So we're in the third session. We're literally almost to the halfway point for today. Not halfway point for today. And then we have 2 more sessions afterwards for 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, and 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific. So we've got the remaining sessions for today so that you can see them. So make sure that you are here, set your clock. And then for tomorrow, don't forget, or AKA remember, we are starting a little bit later. We will get through a lot more information. Okay, so we've got a lot more information for you tomorrow, and that's an exciting thing as well. So let's make sure that, we're here and that we're ready to go. So we want to make sure that you have all the tools that you need. So right now, what we're going to do is we are going to talk about how to get the landlords to say yes. Because that's ultimately what we want. I mean, because we can feel like, there's opportunity for everybody, but is it for me? And this is where I remind you, wealth is for everyone. That means me. When you hear those words, wealth is for everyone, just type in the chat. That means me. Because the more times you can remember that wealth is for everyone, the better, if that makes sense. So what it comes down to, though, is beginning to understand that we are solving a problem. That's why individuals will do business with us, is because we're solving a problem. Well, what problem are you solving for the landlord? So let's talk about that very, very specifically. Okay, so hopefully you got your workbook. Let's go. See, once you understand the pain or the problem, as I said before, then and only then do you have the chance of presenting yourself as a solution, your business as the solution. That is the entire point. Okay. So let's talk about some of the selling points, the pain points that we can actually solve, okay? So I'm gonna go through some of the, we'll call them benefits of working with the short-term rental operator. So for those of you who have property and you've ever wondered, what's in it for me? Here are some of the benefits. And this is important for you to know. The average stay, meaning the length of stay at a short-term rental is under a normal market is about 5.6 days. Now, clearly, we are not in a normal market. However, after the person leaves, the unit must be cleaned. That's what happens. You got to clean it. Now, that actually sounds like how is that a benefit to the landlord? Okay, here's what I know. I know this to be true. That there are landlords, now I'm not saying it's you, but I know this, that there are landlords out there right now, today, and it may be you, but you've kept the rent lower because you didn't want them to move out. Because you didn't want to go in there and clean it. You were afraid. Who knows what was in there? Now, if you know someone like that, I'm not saying it was you. If you know someone like that, do me a favor, give me that double hands up. There's an emoji that's like double hands up. Put that in the chat because I'm pretty sure somebody, somewhere, one of y'all knows somebody like that. My point is, what it comes down to it, landlords avoid doing certain things and, we do other things and it still costs us money. Just think about it. When's the last time you've seen the top of your refrigerator? Now, being a taller person like myself, I see the tops of everybody's refrigerator. I don't necessarily want to see them. And yes, I could tell you what's up there, but I don't want to see them. You don't clean the top of your ceiling fan. Think about that. You know that fan that's in the bathroom? When's the last time you cleaned that vent? Here's my point. As a short-term rental operator, every doorknob, every handle, all of it has to work all the time. Period. Because when we have marketed the property, we've marketed it such that it's in perfect condition. The person who's arriving today doesn't care how many people were there before them at all. The only thing they care about is, hey, I'm here now. And because I'm here now, it needs to look like the picture. And part of looking like the picture is everything working, everything being clean, neat, tidy, and ready to go. That becomes a benefit to the landlord because when you're running an efficient system, someone could leave at 11 a.m. in the morning and arrive by 4 p.m. A completely different person arrived by 4 p.m. And between 11 and 4, you know what ends up happening? You've gone in there, you've repaired everything, you fixed it. It's all ready to go again. So if a door handle was loose, you don't have time to wait for the landlord to actually come and fix it because you've got another person coming by 4 o'clock. Interesting, yeah? So it becomes a lot less maintenance than what many landlords traditionally, anyway, would think happen when it comes to a short-term rental business. That becomes a benefit to them. Less phone calls, peace of mind, work you're gonna do. Now, the big stuff, the roof leaks, the AC falling apart, or the appliances they provided not working, that's still gonna be on them. It always was. So there's nothing new there. But the point is, because of our business model, we don't have the time. We just don't have the time. Can't wait. You know what I'm saying? It does not work if they are in charge of those small little ticky-tack things. That means they don't have to worry about it. That means they're not getting a phone call about it. It's just going to get done. Now, in this current market, people are, yes, staying significantly longer. But this is still a benefit because you still got to go and clean. But now it's also a benefit to you because when individuals are staying on average 14, 30, 45, 43, 62 days, it is giving us time to expand our operations, to literally add more units. We have had in the last week and a half, I think, 4 different people who are just now getting started. All of them get anywhere between 1 to 3 units each. And that's exciting because they get it. And being able to build that business during all of this crazy, that if you listen to the news, you might think there is no opportunity. Well, I'm going to tell you a different way to listen to the news here in just a moment. See, most people who are traveling, they don't have the intention of spending time in the unit. Now, also, that's during a normal market. Right now, they are spending more time. In fact, depending on your geographic location, they're being told stay inside, right? I understand. But under normal circumstances, they're not traveling to the area. They didn't pack everything up to just come and sit inside your unit. That is not the goal. They didn't do that. They were in the process of doing or accomplishing something else, but they needed a place to stay, a place to sleep while they did so, whatever that might have been. Additionally, payment will be more consistent to the landlord because, well, we're running a business that's completely different. The landlord tends to have less leasing and management fees because there's a lot of things that we are doing. Now, I'm not saying landlord don't have a property management company. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that why not renegotiate the fee you're paying your property management company, because managing us is a lot less work than what they would normally do. So since they're doing less work, then maybe the fee shouldn't be the same. I mean, that's for you to decide, but here's what I do know. They are going to receive significantly less calls. Now, as opposed to a typical tenant, we tend to carry a significant amount of more insurance. Here's what I mean. I prefer to carry around $1 million of liability coverage per location. What does that mean? If I've got 5 units in one building, I'm going to have separate policies of $1 million each. And yes, Mr. Landlord, that policy is also going to cover you. Think about that for a second. Just think about it. What is the tenant policy that their current renter cover? Well, probably doesn't cover them. Does cover the tenant's belongings, though. Well, that's good. And yeah, so from a liability standpoint, again, we're bringing more to the table. These are all things that most landlords don't know. I promise you, they just don't know it yet. Now, that doesn't mean you lead with this stuff. Just because you can do these things, they don't care yet. You must understand their problem, get them to tell you. Okay, just please understand that is still a part of the process here. And probably one of the biggest benefits, I mean, there's a lot, but one of the biggest is there's increased security. Meaning, because we are running the systems that we run, it is not uncommon for us to have a doorbell camera or cameras on the premises in the exterior, because we're never violating privacy. Okay, so none of that stuff, which means cameras on the outside, non-private areas, blah blah blah. But having remote. What is called access control for ingress or egress, meaning they can get in or get out in a remote fashion. Having the ability to notify the authorities and have them on site within usually less than 10 minutes in most cases. Having the ability to know exactly how many occupants are in there. In some cases, we even know what websites they're on, how long they've been on them. Yes, we have limited people's downloads and stop them from doing things that they shouldn't be doing because, you're not coming here for that. That's not what we do. And but that's part of the increased security. And it can sound like surveillance to some degree. And yeah, we've had some people like, are you watching me? And it's kind of like saying, yeah, because I have an investment that I have to protect. And I don't know what you intend on doing. And I'm just making sure that you're following the house rules. That's all this is, for your safety. And individuals who have a desire to do something other than follow the house rules typically find themselves on the way out because that's how it goes. See, all of these things come together to be a benefit to the landlord. And ultimately, they all have a direct impact or a direct or indirect impact on how much their NOI ultimately is, their net operating income. How much money is left? How does all of these things come together to lower their expenses, meaning the value of their building has increased simply because the NOI is higher? There's a lot of that happens, which is kind of cool. So what does that mean? That means, a number of things. Once someone understands what we do, how we do it, why it works, it's very rare that you'll run into a landlord who, when they have a vacancy, that they don't offer it to you first. Meaning, you can start with someone who has a fourplex and you only get one of those units. But if any of those other units in that building or any of the other buildings that they own goes vacant, they're often going to call you first because they like the process, how it works. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where you can get excited. It's because it's a very strategic and unique advantage that we have. Here's ultimately, though, what you need to say. Here's the conversation. Again, just like we did in the previous, it's going to come at you fast. But remember, it's recorded. And yes, you'll be able to go back and forth and watch it. And yes, it'll be in the unit section like everything else. So you'll be able to see it. So don't fret. Stay with me. So you'll be able to get it all. But I just want to run it through so that I can help you know exactly how this works. And it's also simple, meaning I know that some of you want it to be more difficult or believe it has to be more difficult. And I'm going to challenge you to say, no, it's not. It's simple. You can do it. It is these words. There are no other secret words that we're saying that I'm not sharing with you. Okay? And because sometimes we can feel a challenge because something has a very large potential impact. We go, oh, that must be hard to do or complicated, this, that, and the other. And I can understand that, but that's just not the case here. So I'm going to share with you something that is easy, which means you can do it. But it also means it's easy not to do it, unfortunately. So here are the words. When we are talking to an owner-controlled building, and by the way, an owner-controlled building is a building that is not owned by a REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. These are the Real Estate Investment Trust buildings are the ones that you probably are already looking at, you know, the shiny ones with all the, the bowling alleys and sports bars and who knows what else, because they got all kinds of things today. Not those. I want you talking to an actual owner, someone who actually owns the building, the direct owner of the building. This is where that conversation goes. Okay. Now, that's not to say that some of you are like, but Jay, I know people who do it. Yeah, I'm not saying that you can't do it there. I'm telling you where you're going to have the highest probability of success and longevity. Because a REIT can change their mind at the drop of the hat, and they often do. Here are the words. Hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about that? Let me say that again. I know. Hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about that? That's how the conversation starts. Whomever answers the phone, whomever you're talking to, if you're talking in person, it's literally, hi, my name is Jay. See, there's a number of reasons that those are the words. One, you're not withholding information by saying, hi, my name is Jay. See, there have been times where you've had a conversation and you didn't realize it, but you're going to probably remember it now, where you have said, and I quote, I don't even know their name. Because you realized during the part of the conversation, something happened and it triggered, I don't even know their name. Who is this person? But you were already emotionally hooked into the conversation by that point, and it made you feel uneasy. But hi, my name is Jay. I'm a normal person. My company and I know that you heard the words my company and I. It's because you're going to do the lease in the name of an entity, whatever your attorney decides is the appropriate one. I don't care what the name is. Are looking to lease a number of properties. I am making an assumption that you want more than one. Remember, 3-phase system. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Get one, duplicate and scale, and then buy and collect assets. That's it. So I'm making that assumption. And then after that assumption is made, are you the right person? I am now not making an assumption intentionally because, yes, they may be the right person, but they may not be. And if they're not, I want to leave it open for them to refer me to the right person. And if that is what happens, when the right person picks up or the person that I was referred to picks up, guess what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, hi, my name is Jay. My company and I are looking to lease a number of properties in the area. Are you the right person to talk to about that? Now, during that phone call, during that first initial meeting, when I'm saying that, I have one goal. You have one goal. How many goals do you have? You have one. Uno. No more. It is to get an appointment to see the property. Now, see the property has changed in terms of what does that mean today, right? Yes, you can still do it virtually. Yes, you can still do it in person. They can open the door, stay in the car. You can maintain more than 6 feet apart and do all the social distancing necessary in order to see the property. So it's still possible. Yay. What you and I have to do is begin to make the phone calls and start that process. Now, I know that some of you are thinking two things. One, Jay, but what if they say, is this Airbnb? Or something like that. Or what if they say, what does your company do? How do I answer those questions? Totally understood, and I got you. See, in the process of giving you expert tools, you also are going to be challenged to use them expertly, which is why I'm answering the things that I know come up most often. And this is also the pattern that is proven to be the most successful. So when they go, hey, Jay, is this Airbnb? See, some of you are afraid of that question, but you don't really understand what they're asking. All right. Now, for many reasons that I've said before, and we'll say probably many more times, is you don't have an Airbnb business. One, because that's factual. You don't. And second, because Airbnb, the word in and of itself, is, well, it comes with certain preconceived notions. Individuals are prejudiced against the term, rightly or wrongly, but ultimately it's just because they don't know. Right? Could you imagine, like, if you were hungry and and someone offered you something as simple as a bottle? You're like, hey, do you have any water? And then, you know what? They go, yeah, here's some water. And then they go, did that water come from Kroger? Now, I got nothing against Kroger or any of their related stores, but they're like, you're like, what? Why does it matter? It's water. You wanted water, right? It's why does it matter? There's something behind that question that you always want to find out. They're like, no, we don't do that. Like, Kroger water is just as good as anyway, because that's what you're thinking. But the same is true here. Is this Airbnb? The same is also true with what does your company do? Because they don't know. They just don't know what they don't know. So they're just literally asking a question for you to answer. Here's where the first session that we did earlier comes into play. Remember how I said, hey, you want to know who it is that you want to serve? You remember that? You remember that homework page that I said, hey, go fill this out, the who do you want to serve worksheet? Here's where those answers come into play, okay? Is where you begin to describe to them who it is that you serve. That's the answer to the question. When they ask you, what does your company do? You do not respond with the words, oh, I have an Airbnb business. That's the wrong answer. Because, as I said, it's not factual. Now, if you would like for me to go through a couple or maybe more examples of how to answer that question with target markets that we use, do me a favor, give me a 2 thumbs up in the chat. Okay, give me that 2 thumbs up. Because ultimately, when you start your business properly and you know who it is that you serve, it answers a lot of the other questions that could potentially come up. The other question that's harder sometimes, is this Airbnb? Well, understand, how you acquire your customers isn't relevant. And Airbnb is only a marketplace. That's it. It's a place where buyers and sellers meet to exchange the goods and services that they have. That's it. So when someone is asking, is this Airbnb? I like to find out why they asked that question. That's one of the things I like to do. And then I will answer it as follows. Now, don't forget 2 thumbs up in the chat if you want to hear me talk about some of the other customer stuff. But right now I want to answer this question because this is the more difficult one of the 2 to answer. When someone, is this Airbnb? That's an interesting question. Why do you ask? Just like I said, I want to find out why. Then it becomes, well, we acquire our customers a number of different ways. For example, you know how there's the Coca-Cola plant right over here? Yeah. Well, what we sometimes we have a very direct relationship with certain corporations in the local area. And what we do is we work with their HR departments and travel departments to make sure that when their employees or trainings are going on, that their people can have a clean, safe, affordable place to stay. That often includes a kitchen, and it just works out better for them. So what we like to do is we like to partner with quality landlords like yourself so that we can provide that. And at the end of the day, it allows them to enjoy the local marketplace and save a little bit of money at the same time, especially once you compare it to, hotel rates. Now, I have a question. I'm curious. Have you ever gotten a tenant from Craigslist? Now, understand, I've answered their question, right? And I'm going to do it again so that you can hear it. What it comes down to is, and then on the next one, you're going to even hear me say the words Airbnb and all this other stuff. But I'm also ending my answer with a question, also intentionally. Okay, so pay attention. I'm going to do it again. Is this Airbnb? That's an interesting question. Why do you ask? I always like to know. Well, we acquire our customers a number of different ways. You know how Adobe's over there? Well, occasionally we have a direct relationship with Adobe, and what ends up happening is that when they're doing travel, they like to, send the people to stay with us. Now, we also do networking in the local area. So I might go to a networking group like a BNI or Latip or something of that nature so that we can develop more relationships with more businesses and or get referrals either from a university, etc. However, like every other business on the planet today, we also use online methods to attract our customers. For example, we may use marketplaces that you have heard of before, like Booking.com, HomeAway, Flipkey, Wimdu, Travelocity, Airbnb, and many others. However, regardless of how we found them, we are about to make a very significant investment inside your unit. And because of how we find people, and we got to make sure that we have quality individuals, every last one of them has to be screened. But let me ask you this. If have you ever gotten a tenant from Craigslist? See, that's really the question. Have you ever gotten it? Now, I know, landlords have gotten a tenant from Craigslist. Cool. So when they're answering that question, you will often hear, oh God, yeah, absolutely. And then I will respond with that. Well, okay, so when you get your tenant from Craigslist, do you just let anyone stay there? Oh no, we would never do that. Oh, yeah, we screen everybody. Are you kidding? I'm like, no, I'm not. As I said, you might not realize it, but we're about to make a significant investment into your unit. So, we got to screen everybody and protect our investment, just like you have to provide quiet enjoyment for all the rest of your tenants. So, yeah, we completely understand. And the same is true for us. So no matter how we get them, we have to screen them because we can't take that kind of a risk. That makes sense, doesn't it? It does. Now, mind you, I told them how we acquire our customers, didn't I? I was very detailed. All of the things and more that are there. I said words like Airbnb, right? I let them know what the process is. Now, some of you, you're going to be tempted to, oh, I don't need to say all that. Okay. You're going to skip a step and it's going to come back to bite you. I know, because I've helped people who thought they didn't need to say it all. And that's fine. But my point is this. Now they know. My point is also, when I've gone up against attorneys and all this other stuff, this is the only logic that has ever stood up. Period. Okay? So we're not trying to sneak in and do anything. They know exactly what's going on. We're being very transparent up front at the beginning. And if it doesn't work for them, fine. They're not the only landlord in the city. Next. But the other question still remains. So let me see. Did you guys, where we go? We get some, yes, okay. Debbie's got some thumbs up going on. Is that Rashida? Yes, I think I said it right. And then we've got Marty here. So this is good. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to answer that other question too now. Okay. The other question is all around, hey, what does your company do? Well, see, when someone is asking you, what does your company do? What you should do is respond with, who do you serve? That's the answer. Who do you serve? For example, what does your company do? Well, what we like to do is, you know how right now that there's a significant need for traveling medical professionals to stay near hospitals? Yes. Well, the hospital is right over there. It's about 1.8 miles away. And what we have found is if we can stay within a radius of 2 miles, many of the traveling medical professionals like to have a clean, safe, affordable place to stay. And sometimes they have a pet. So we'll let them stay with us because not only can they bring their significant other and their furry friend, but they also have a kitchen, which tends to lower the price. So that's kind of what we do. See, I answered the question, but I answered the question by describing who it is that I serve. Now notice those answers that I said are from the worksheet from the first session. So what does that mean? If you're like, I didn't do what session is he talking about? What you want to do is you want to look right here on the unit section inside the group. See, session 1, session 2, session 3, they all build on each other. Completing the workbook makes you money. You're going to find out soon just how much. But go there, make sure you do it. Because as you're determining who it is that you serve, what ends up happening is you put yourself in a position to answer all of the questions and eliminate confusion and make it easier for you to get started. So what does that mean in this particular case? Let's do that again. What does your company do? Okay, well, you know how you know how there are individuals who travel to the area because they're transitioning. Maybe they just lost a job and they're trying to get a new one, but they haven't quite figured out where they want to stay in the city yet. Well, we like to work with a lot of moving companies and situations of that nature because what ends up happening is we become a very economical option for individuals in that situation so that they and their kids can have a decent enough place to stay while they get to know the area for a few weeks before they choose a permanent place to go. That's what we do. Oh, got it. See, let's do it again. Let's give you another one, especially as it relates to everything that's going on right now. Well, what does your company do? Well, you know how there's a lot of individuals who have their parents at skilled nursing facilities or senior houses where there's been some outbreaks and stuff. Well, some of them are concerned and they would rather have their mom, their dad, stay in a more isolated environment. And what we found is we're able to provide that for them when we work with quality landlords like yourself to make sure that they have clean, safe, affordable housing that can tide them over until this whole mess dies down. So it allows us to do some good. And often we can save them a little dollars on the way too. See, I can keep this going because there are so many different uses for this business model. Here's another. Well, what does your company do? Here's what we have found that I think is very interesting. Even though all of this is going on right now, we often work with a lot of insurance companies because even though all of this is going on, there is no virus that cares about a burst pipe in a house. And if that pipe bursts and the floor has to get pulled up and this and all that has to happen, well, they still need a place to go. So we work with a number of insurance companies who, well, when someone else's house floods, they get to stay with us for a while, for 30, 60 days or whatever it takes to fix it. And we at least get close to they know it's not home, but it's as close as we can make it. And that tends to work for a lot of them so that their kids can have some sense of stability during the time so that they can continue to, read the books they like to read and get the homework done and do all the things that are necessary without having that, ungodly expense of a hotel. I think you're getting the point, but ultimately what it comes down to is by understanding who it is that you serve, you are prepared to answer all of the questions that come your way, my friends. And that's what I want you to be, is prepared, ready to know how to answer, which presupposes that you should be out there creating contact, conversating with landlords so that you have a shot. Give yourself a shot to make this thing happen. That is what I'm asking you to do, encouraging you, dare I say, because it is worth it from a financial standpoint. We're going to talk more about that obviously in the next section. But just like the prior sessions, I've got another expert tool for you to use. See, again, you keep hearing me say those words, and there's a reason. It's because I can give you the information, and yes, you've collected it. Wonderful. It doesn't mean anything until you start doing stuff with it. It takes time in the seat, in the saddle, and the whatever you want to talk about it, to be able to become an expert at something. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen over many nights. It can, because it has already for you. You're good at something. I don't know what, but you are. But here's another tool for you. This is a study that's been done, not only as it relates to who do you want to serve, but how to pivot. So if you are already in the short-term rental world, here's something that's going to help you. If you are not yet in, this is also going to help you get clearer on who do you want to serve. It's written by two gentlemen, Thomas Ritter and Karsten Lund Pedersen. This is from the Copenhagen Business School. I know. You spend your free time reading that nerdy stuff too, right? Well, welcome to my world. What it comes down to, though, is you've got five general areas. These 5 areas right here when it comes to building your business. And it's about understanding that when a crisis occurs, any crisis, there are 3 phases to that crisis. And as you break down who do you want to serve and how do you serve them and how do they find you and what's your value proposition, demonstration of value and capabilities in relation to each of the 3 stages, you know exactly what to do. There is no mystery. There is no, oh my gosh, how does this work now? Because I have an Airbnb business, right? See, if that was your only source of customer, that's your own dang fault. But it was never an Airbnb business. Yes, there's more work to be done. And here's the secret, guys. Here's the secret. It is easier now than it was BC, before coronavirus. It is easier now. And that's why I'm excited, because of all of the chaos, where there's chaos, there's cash flow. Because of all the uncertainty, it's easier now. Much. Between landlords that I've spoken to have said things to me like, Jay, I got a 32 unit building and 30 people did not pay rent. Wow. Okay. I've also heard, hey, I got commercial properties and I got 10%. 10% of my normal rent. Wow. See, one of the unique advantages that we have that traditional landlords don't is that we can switch and change and market to wherever the money is. That's what we can do. You know, if you were near an amusement park, you were near a Disneyland, but you know what? Disneyland closed. Cool, hospital. Let's go there and get those people. Oh, you know what? You were near something and school's closed. Oh no. What can we do? Well, now we were marketing direct to the parents. You know why? Because many of those kids got stranded. Again, there are just honestly too many ways to house someone and to market, which is why you must first determine who it is that you want to serve. So make sure you make your way over to the unit section because this resource is there for you. It's there to help you become better. See, we are giving you expert tools, telling you what to do, giving you a limited amount of time to do them, and coming right back. That's how this whole process continues to work. Spaced repetition over time in a defined amount of space allows you to become better at something. That's what happened. That's how you made it through kindergarten through 12th grade. Some of you went for more. You know, I have a PhD, for those of you wondering. That is a public high school diploma, in case you didn't know. So, but at the end of the day, you can do this, right? This isn't foreign to you. This process is the same process you've done all your life, anytime you've chosen to learn anything. We're just taking it through and giving it to you in such a way that you can use it right now, so that you can make a difference right now, so that maybe even tomorrow afternoon, you are in a position to where you can get a lease signed. Wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened, but wouldn't that just be like, wow, that's just crazy, isn't it? And understand, doesn't mean it's not impossible. Wealth is for everyone. Don't forget, write it in there. My point is, ladies and gentlemen, as you begin to put this together, the landlord will eventually says, yes. Now, this conversation that we've been talking about, that I've given you the script for, that conversation should happen in person, okay? In person. I like to have that conversation in person because ultimately you should be qualifying the property, not being disqualified by the manager, management, landlord, etc. Okay? That doesn't mean that they don't have a say. They can ask all the questions that they want. But ultimately, what I'm sharing with you, what I'm hoping you're hearing and getting and grasping and perceiving is you're solving a problem for them. You're solving a problem that still exists. I'm aware that there are less airplanes in the air, but there's still regional travel that's needed. Domestic travel is still a thing. It's what happens. And it's not new. And temporary housing is still needed. Today, somebody's house flooded. And the only reason that, well, they didn't call you in Kansas, I don't know if any of y'all in Kansas, but you know what I'm saying. The only reason they didn't call you is because they don't know you exist. You haven't put out your shingle. You haven't made it clear that that's there. But once they do, it's just another place to stay. And that's available for you. It's available for all of us. And to me, that's an exciting thing. And I hope, I just hope that you're excited by it too. Now, the next session is going to be, I believe, oh, that's the wrong one. There it is. The next session is going to be at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about freedom. We're going to talk about some more numbers. So for those of you who did not see some numbers in the first session that we started with, we're going to talk about more numbers and how the system begins to work even better collectively. Because there's a certain level of freedom. We're going to define what that looks like, what that means, and helping you to understand how you might not have as much of that freedom stuff as you think at this particular moment. But we're also going to show you a way that you can get more, right? We're going to talk deeper about what do we do here at Cashflow Diary and how do we do it and what does that look like? And I'm hoping you have been completing your homework because you're going to find out what that workbook is worth. Yeah, pretty excited about all of those things and more. Hopefully, see you in a few. Go get something to eat right now and come back so you can be ready. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, as I've said before, I say again, I'm having lots of fun talking to you. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.